Can you sober up quickly with coffee or?
How much alcohol are Russians consuming?
Welcome to Weird Fun Facts Daily, where I and my colleague are discovering all kinds of interesting facts about alcohol.
Let's start with history. Yeah, best thing ever. Some archaeologists say that alcohol is old as human civilization. The earliest evidence of wine was found in what is now China, where jars from Jiahu which date to about 7000 BC were discovered. This early rice wine was produced by fermenting rice, honey, and fruit. What later developed into Chinese civilization grew up along the more northerly Yellow River and fermented a kind of yuangu from millet. The Zhou attached great importance to alcohol and ascribed the loss of the mandate of heaven by the earlier Xuanshang as largely due to their dissolute and alcoholic emperors. An edict ascribed to c. 1116 BC makes it clear that the use of alcohol in moderation was believed to be prescribed by heaven. So with this evidence, we can say the Chinese people were the first to start drinking alcohol, or you can say their rice wine. Imagine drinking that. There is one more interesting fact about this. It is that some scientists say that ability of the human body to digest alcohol started evolving about 10 million years ago. Does it mean that we started drinking alcohol then? With not much surprise, we must say no. The reason for this is that our body started to adapt to digesting fermented, rotting fruit that fell from trees. So no, they probably didn't enjoy their booze while watching their favorite team playing with rock ball.
Talking about gender equality, which doesn't have to do anything with this, men are more likely to consume alcohol than women. There are many studies that can prove this, but some of them state that almost 59% of adult men report drinking alcohol in the past 30 days compared with 47% of adult women. Men are almost 2 times more likely to binge drink than women. 1 to 3. Approximately 22% of men report binge drinking and on average do so 5 times a month, consuming 8 drinks per binge. In 2019, 7% of men had an alcohol use disorder compared with 4% of women. I assume that this doesn't come as a surprise for anyone watching this video, but there is one question coming from this. Why is this happening? Why are men more susceptible to alcohol? There can be many answers, but the most important one is dopamine. You probably heard about this beautiful hormone. It is associated with good things like eating, having sex, and etc. So what is happening? It appears when drinking alcohol, men are realizing more of this good hormone than women. One of the studies has the best explanation for this. These findings indicate that the ability of alcohol to stimulate dopamine release may play an important and complex role in its rewarding effects and abuse liability in humans. This identification of an in vivo neurochemical mechanism that could help explain the sex difference in alcoholism is an exciting step forward in alcoholism research.
We talked about history, now it's time for chemistry. How does your body process alcohol? You drink too much, and after something happens, and you are drunk. Not the answer you are looking for, right? Okay, maybe this is a better explanation. When you drink, the unmetabolized alcohol flows through your stomach walls into your bloodstream and onto your small intestine. From there it flows through a large blood vessel into your liver. In the liver, an enzyme similar to gastric acid metabolizes the alcohol, which is converted to energy by a coenzyme called nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. Yeah, big words. The normal healthy liver can process about a half ounce of pure alcohol, that's 6 to 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or 1 ounce of spirits, in an hour. The rest flows onto your heart. Entering your heart, alcohol reduces the force with which your heart muscle contracts. You pump out slightly less blood vessels all over your body relax, and your blood pressure goes down temporarily. The contractions soon return to normal, but the blood vessels may remain relaxed, and your blood pressure lower for as long as half an hour. Some of that alcohol is going to your lungs, where you breathe out some from your bloodstream. Alcohol is a sedative. When it reaches your brain, it slows the transmission of impulses between nerve cells that control your ability to think and move. That's why your thinking may be fuzzy, your judgment impaired, your tongue twisted, your vision blurred, and your muscles rubbery.
I think it's a much better explanation. Now we need to ask ourselves what effects alcohol has on our health. When you drink 1 beer, you will lose the ability to produce sex hormones. Okay, everyone knows that this is not true, but there are so many negative health effects on your body associated with drinking alcohol that we could make an entire video talking about them. Most of those negative effects are associated with heavy drinking, but even moderate drinking can cause some problems in your body. These are some of the short-term effects. Feelings of relaxation or drowsiness. A sense of euphoria or giddiness. Changes in mood. Lowered inhibitions. Impulsive behavior. Slowed or slurred speech. Nausea and vomiting. Diarrhea. Head pain. Changes in hearing, vision, and perception. Loss of coordination. Trouble focusing or making decisions. Loss of consciousness or gaps in memory. And these are some of the long-term effects. Persistent changes in mood, including anxiety and irritability. Insomnia and other sleep concerns. A weakened immune system, meaning you might get sick more often. Changes in libido and sexual function. Changes in appetite and weight. Problems with memory and concentration. Difficulty focusing on tasks. Increased tension and conflict in romantic and family relationships.
Russians. We couldn't make an alcohol video without them. Russia is one of the countries that is most associated with alcohol, or if you want precisely with vodka. Alcoholism has been a problem throughout the country's history because drinking is a pervasive, socially acceptable behavior in Russian society, and alcohol has also been a major source of government revenue for centuries. It has repeatedly been targeted as a major national problem, with mixed results. Alcoholism in Russia has, according to some authors, acquired a character of a national disaster and has the scale of a humanitarian catastrophe. So when you have problems like these, of course, that you are going to implement anti-alcoholism measures. Because of them, we are seeing a decline in alcohol usage volume per capita. According to a 2011 report by the World Health Organization, the annual per capita consumption of alcohol in Russia was about 15.76 liters, the fourth highest volume in Europe. It dropped to 11.7 liters in 2016 and amounted to less than 10 liters as of 2019.
What is binge drinking? The best way to explain this is with a concentration of alcohol that you bring with your pattern of drinking. The National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism defines binge drinking as a pattern of drinking alcohol that brings blood alcohol concentration to 0.08%. How much is that? For example, for an adult female, it's 4 or more drinks, and for a male, it's about 5 or more drinks in about 2 hours. And now you are probably asking, what is difference between binge drinking and high-intensity drinking or heavy drinking? High-intensity drinking is defined as alcohol intake at levels twice or more than binge drinking alcohol intake. Now you can know in how much bad position you are when speaking about drinking, but how common is binge drinking? According to the 2019 National Survey on Drug Use and Health, about 66 million, or about 24% of people in the United States ages 12 and older reported binge drinking during the past month. You heard that right. There is a percentage of 13 and 14 years olds who are binge drinking, but we must say that this survey showed that these percentages are decreasing in the last decade. With all this in mind, what are the consequences of binge drinking? Data suggests that even one episode of binge drinking can compromise the function of the immune system and lead to acute pancreatitis, inflammation of the pancreas, in individuals with underlying pancreatic damage. Alcohol misuse, including repeated episodes of binge drinking, over time contributes to liver and other chronic diseases, as well as increases the risk of several types of cancer, including head and neck, esophageal, liver, breast, and colorectal cancers. But the biggest problem for you with binge drinking will probably be money, because it's estimated that around $191.1 billion is the economic cost of binge drinking.
Let's continue with random facts. Who has more alcohol, red wines or white wines? There are exceptions, but, in general, red wines have more alcohol by volume than white wines. Of course, there are many different factors that can play a role in this. You can look at it this way: the riper the grapes, the higher the sugar content, and the more sugar there is for yeast to convert into alcohol during fermentation. Red wine grapes tend to be harvested later than white wine grapes. In part it's because of the physiology of various grapes, but also because, broadly speaking, it reflects staples of red wines versus white. The next things to take into consideration are the climate and weather conditions where the grapes are growing. The biggest variable is when the grapes are picked. Winemakers aren't just trying to get the grapes as ripe as possible. The goal is usually to achieve balance, even if for some winemakers, that might be riper grapes than others. There's been a movement around the wine world lately to tone down ripeness and to find fresher expressions of wines that will pair better with food.
Maybe it's finally time to answer a question about sobering up with a coffee. I think that I am getting these more interesting things to cover. I think I should say some more of these, let's say myths about alcohol. The answer is no. You are not sobering up faster because of coffee. You are indeed becoming more alert and awake when drinking coffee because of caffeine, the world's most used stimulant. Like we said, it takes time for your body to process alcohol. You can't speed up that process, but drinking coffee or cold showering, you are just masking or covering up the effects of alcohol. Does alcohol warm your body? Actually, something completely different is happening. Your body is cooling down with alcohol. The direct action of alcohol causes a drop in the internal body temperature by the following process. The blood vessels are opened on the skin surfaces and the blood is cooled by greater exposure to the outer environment. As the cooled blood circulates, the core temperature is lowered gradually. Alcohol can be used as a food supplement. I don't know if there is anyone believing in this, but just imagine this guy drinking alcohol every night for muscle gains. Yeah, it's not happening. Actually, alcohol has no nutritional value. It contains no vitamins, minerals, or proteins. It does contain a bigger amount of calories, so if you want to get fat, I think this is the way to go. You can't become an alcoholic by drinking only beer. Ask Homer about this one, or even better, ask his stomach. Americans drink almost 10 times as much beer as they do liquor. Although the content of alcohol in beer is relatively low, this means that 1/2 of the alcohol drunk is consumed as beer. Given these facts, it seems reasonable to say that there are many alcoholics who are only beer drinkers. Hangovers are caused by switching drinks. Okay, this one is just stupid. Your hangovers are caused by the amount of alcohol that you drank last night. So no, there is no magic combination of drinks that will save you from hangovers.
When we are already talking about hangovers, aren't they the best things ever? That morning headache, or even better, nausea. Maybe I should stop with this sarcasm. We've all been there. Moments where we all decide that we won't drink ever again. Moments where you regret everything. Did you ever ask yourself why you have such a severe headache? It's due to dehydration. Ethanol, which is alcohol, dries out your brain. Alcohol does this by suppressing the hormone arginine vasopressin, which conserves water levels in the body. Maybe you just have bad genetics for hangovers. Your genes can play a key role in how bad your hangover is. Certain genes are directly responsible for key enzymes, such as aldehyde dehydrogenase, which breaks down the toxic alcohol byproduct acetaldehyde. The big words, I know. Because you watched so deep into this video, I will give you a prevention plan for the hangover. It's a high-protein snack. Because they take a relatively long time to digest, protein-rich foods such as meat, nuts, and cheese will delay the opening of the pyloric valve, which allows the stomach's contents to pass into the small intestine. The small intestine is where most alcohol is absorbed into the blood.
Let's end this video with something funny. Rum was used as currency in Australia. The use of rum as a currency began around 1790. Rum was brought into the colony and controlled by a small number of people who became very rich. The problem with rum as a currency was that many workers were paid in rum and, instead of using it to buy the goods and services they needed, they drank it. The trade in rum grew and grew until it became the most popular form of currency. Major building construction, like the Sydney Hospital, was even paid for with rum. With that, we are finishing this video about alcohol. If you have any ideas for future videos, please comment below.
If you enjoyed in this video, please consider subscribing and liking this video. Until next time, please don't drink too much.